Liquid hoping to keep the wins going, and CLG hoping to make this back half the split look really good for them. Shutdown on the Phoenix. CLG will not go quietly into the night. Counter Logic Gaming takes down Liquid in the match of the week.
Huge stun from Bjergsen. He's trying to outplay it, but MASH is a monster! Phoenix 1 have done it! They have defeated TSM!
Can you believe it? The miracle upset!
Good afternoon, League fans, and welcome to Week 8 of the North American LCS. We've got some craziness happening in the studios. This weekend has been packed with amazing games, and it all continues today with our 4 matches featuring your favorite teams and players. Now, the teams arrived moments ago. Here's a look at TSM's carry and support duo strolling in and gearing up for their match with Envy. They'll be tangoing with Hakuho and Laud down in that bottom lane. Of course, Energy will be taking place on the other arena in force for their match, greeting some fans and getting set for their clash with Team Liquid. Fabi rolled up to the arena not too long ago and got a little love from his mid laner, Phoenix, to get the day going. Thank you, everybody, for watching with us today. I'm James Patterson, and joining me on the analyst desk this afternoon is James Stress O'Leary, all the way from EU LCS, and Alberto Crumsrangifo, now a mainstay of our North American analyst desk. But I've got to ask you, Stress, how is the flight? How does it feel to be here?
Feels great. It's not quite a European vacation. I'm putting in some work a little bit while I'm over here.
That's
so,
right. You've got to stay in practice, right? You can't come back and go 0-4 or whatever. No. And Crumbs, how are you doing today?
Oh, well, I'm really excited. Yeah, it was a shame, but...
I know you would have enjoyed being on the desk yesterday
so much fun.
For a little bit of TSM P1.
I loved watching the games. I was smiling from ear to ear the entire day. All those games were so much fun, to be honest. I wanted to go out and do things with my day, but I was like, I cannot miss this.
No, that's right. You could not have missed that. We'll get into some of those matches from yesterday, but first, let's start the day off with a refresh of the current league standings. For the first time this split, TSM are not at the top of the table, edged out by Immortals, who have played one more series this weekend and hold that top spot. Cloud9 has sole possession of 3rd, with CLG and Liquid sharing 4th place. Team Envy and Apex fall into the 6th and 7th slots, while Phoenix 1 has risen into an 8th place tie with Energy, and Echo Fox sits in 10th. Now for a sneak peek at the action unfolding across 2 streams today, NA LCS 1 viewers will watch as Energy battles Liquid, followed by Cloud9 versus Phoenix 1. And on NA LCS 2, watch as Envy look to hold on to their playoff spot in a battle against TSM, and then a bout between Echo Fox and Counter Logic Gaming. Now, right off the top, we have to call out Phoenix 1, who became the first team in the North American LCS to defeat TSM in the summer split, prompting strong reaction from League fans everywhere, including fellow LCS teams like Immortals. And if you think Immortals aren't excited to have a shot at the #1 seed, then you're not following them on Twitter. Here they are watching the end of the 3rd game of that series between TSM and Phoenix 1.
Yes! Yes!
I love to see players get that excited about the opportunity to compete for that #1 slot, right? Because it would be easy to be complacent and say, well, we've already gotten a bye. It doesn't matter so much. You know, we're not going to see them at least till the finals anyway in the playoffs. But no, they want for pride and glory that #1 seed.
It's like the Christmas gift you never thought would come. It's awesome. So I'm happy for them getting so excited. And this means that match between TSM and Immortals next week is going to be that much more exciting.
Man, I've missed Huni, just seeing that every week, that kind of excitement. Of course, another slight thing for him and Reignover to celebrate. Of course, their European 18-game record's still alive. A little bit of a change now since that was best of ones, but still, it's there. It's in the history books. So,
yeah, very much. They're going to hold that over there in EU, but who knows, right? We've got plenty more seasons of League of Legends to play. So either way, Huni and Reignover, they can also celebrate their record run with Fnatic is still safe, as he just mentioned. Now, Inori picked up 2 consecutive Player of the Game awards in that series last night and may have become a star overnight almost with that Rengar play, the way he turned that series around. pretty impressive.
Well, his games were really outstanding. The positioning, the way they played the team fights, the carry builds. My favorite part of all this was watching him play junglers without any wards. He kept playing these champions and just not warding at all. He went sweeper, no wards, red smite, we're fighting all the time.
Yep.
And that's a lot of things that junglers dream of accomplishing, and it requires an entire team effort, and they're able to pull it off. So really good props to P1 for doing that.
It was so good to watch. I got right off the plane, loaded up NA LCS, and I'm like, oh, Rengar, Malzahar, it's going to be great. They jumped Bjergsen in the mid lane. I think that was the most shocking thing, was just TSM not being able to adapt to the mid lane pressure on this meta as well. So Inori, great performance, also helped as well by Pyrion in that mid lane. Good foundation there for P1.
Very much so. Malzahar in the last 2 games for the victory. So TSM not being able to adjust as they need either in draft or within the gameplay itself to deal with that early pressure from Inori. Now, though, I'd like to turn our attention to another thrilling series where CLG pulled out a huge win over Team Liquid after a tough 3-game series. And it all came down to one pivotal team fight at the very end. Now, Miss Harvey sums it up with her tweet, "Oh my God, that's a team that never gives up. GG CLG League, what a game."
I mean, this is coming, being buried alive and and getting brought back up there. So CLG being able to really pull out this fight was quite outstanding. And the hero of this was Xmithie the entire time with that 3-man barrel, particularly pushing away Phoenix and rendering completely useless in the fight. So reason why they're actually able to turn this around. And it just shows the importance of late game fights. It's not about the goal. It's not about the objective. It's all about the fight itself. The positioning is ultimately what matters. CLG knew it, capitalized once again.
Yeah, TL go for that Elder Drake. They look to try and just get that game-winning objective, perhaps, and from there just couldn't really contend. But I still feel like I don't know which CLG I'm watching. Whenever I tune in, like the game's against C9, I'm like, great, CLG, they're back.
Right.
But
Well, that's a really good point, because we have to ask ourselves, how does CLG end up in this situation? Because
it's counter logic,
right,
of course.
Right, exactly. Very much so. It very much is, right? We would have said last split that there's no way this team gets in this position against the likes of Team Liquid, but they do here. One thing I really loved about that fight, and we didn't show it today, but we did show it yesterday, we showed the team comms over that fight, and right before that fight actually gets initiated, Afromu very clearly says to his team, "This is our fight." Right? And in a very definitive sense, I love to hear that out of the most veteran guy on the team, the shot caller, because that's the kind of positive mindset that you need to have in a game that you've been bludgeoned over the head all frickin' day, to be able to walk in and say, it's okay, forget everything that happened before this, we can win this fight. That's the confidence I want my team to enter the fight with.
That makes it such a huge difference when it comes down to playing in those crucial moments, because ultimately when the fight comes down, you're not looking at the gold, you're not looking at the items, you're just focusing, okay, my team leader just said, this is it, so I'm going to give everything I've got on this fight, and they do just that. And I really like when somebody steps up during these comms and we get a glimpse of hearing what leadership is like.
I love that, but then my mind goes all the way back to when we were working together on Team Dignitas, and one of the things Odie was always drilling into us is always clear communication and not having muddy fights. I'm sure you've heard that enough times. But
And why'd you bring back those days?
He was having such a good day.
Everything after that, though, was very messy, and I just think about some of the comms that specifically Splice in Europe. It's almost like 1 or 2 words during the fight about targets. And I think maybe that's one area where these massive fights can just go so horribly wrong, is if everybody's shouting at the same time. It sounds really basic, but I was just a little surprised.
Yeah, very much has to be clean, and that was a great fight from CLG to turn that series around. So now the question that I pose to you is, how do TSM and Team Liquid, these two teams that lost in somewhat crushing fashion yesterday, how do they turn things around after these losses?
I think for me, starting with TSM, it's about the draft. I don't mind their priority on Sivir yesterday. They put Bjergsen on Malzahar in Game 1, but after Game 2, it's very evident that Malzahar is a problem. Ban the Rengar, get the Malzahar as well at the same time, and if you can at least handle that mid lane meta shift, I don't think TSM are going to have the same kind of problems. We know he also has other picks in his champion pool, so maybe just get rid of it altogether. But they didn't seem completely settled on exactly how 6-14 was going to go in that mid lane.
Gotcha.
Well, on the other hand, I think that the issues that Liquid has are much tougher to fix, because they're like a Siamese fish, where you put them in a little fishbowl, you put a mirror in front of it, they're just going to bash themselves to it till they die. That actually happens with those fish.
That's terrifying.
It's a double-edged sword. Their aggression is also the way that they keep losing these games, because they keep looking for the most ridiculous fights, 4v5s, 1v5. It just makes no sense, and it's through that aggression that they get the advantages, but also how they're losing these games. So it has to be such a slow process for them, and toning that down to truly understand, okay, we gotta take a step back. We did our aggressive play here. Now we can wait. Now we can wait. Now we can reassess the game, and they just need somebody to do that. But it's a young roster.
Well, yeah, that's the question. Who's going to step to do that? We, of course, just saw Liquid on our screens a moment ago with their pregame huddle for their match today. Looked in high spirit, so it's good to see that team, that roster kind of rebound. We know that they're emotional guys, but they seem to be cool, calm, collected today. We'll see if that actually exists on the Rift. Of course, everything can change once you load into the game itself. But, of course, TSM's loss, that puts them within striking distance of Immortals. As we mentioned, Immortals is technically half a game above them because they've played one more match this weekend already. But TSM wins today. They're officially tied going into next week, which means #1 seed is going to ride on that game between TSM and Immortals. That's a big one.
Absolutely, but it is troubling for TSM because their loss isn't just credited to P1 playing well and their misread on the draft, but the fact that they played really badly as well. So many uncharacteristic mistakes, not just individually, but macro-wise. They're just all over the place, and it's kind of disheartening because we're reaching the end of the split. We want to see playoffs. We're thinking about Worlds, that kind of stuff. And for a team that we would expect to be able to keep a perfect record, to drop a game in this fashion, rather disheartening.
Well, and here's the thing. We look at Immortals as a team that goes ham, just like, say, Team Liquid does, or even kind of create the chaos that Phoenix One, in a sense, did in that series. So it kind of speaks to if TSM couldn't keep their wits about them in a series against Phoenix One, how could they expect to do so against Immortals?
Also, the fact that the TSM, they showed issues with adjusting to mid lane meta. I also think there could be issues another week down the line with top lane meta going up against a player like Huni, who in previous splits has gone monstrous on Fiora. It's something we've seen a lot in Europe. So TSM may have other problems other than everything we've seen this week that might crop up in the next week, but that's a super hype match for next week.
Oh, very much so. And, of course, that will give them the extra week to maybe figure out 6-14. So as the meta develops here in the NALCS, they either get helped or hurt by it. We'll see how they adjust. Quick reminder about next week's TSM Immortals matchup. We've moved their matches into the Battle Arena to accommodate more fans, and a limited number of tickets are still available on lolesports.com/tickets, so go check that out. While you're there, reserve your seat for the North American Finals on August 27th and 28th. The Air Canada Centre in Toronto, Ontario, Canada will host the best teams in North America as they battle for the title of 2016 North American LCS champions. Tickets are still available for Saturday, so get them before they're gone. We are locked in and ready to play some League of Legends, so it's time to hand it off to the casters to get the matches underway.